Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. What do we got today, Rick?
We got a Week 16 Q&A.
Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
What's up, bro?
I didn't make it.
You didn't make it.
I'm pretty sure Trevion Williams or whatever. I think I started him. I think he had 0.8 points. Solid start. You know the guy that I would have picked up, Benny Snell. You know how many points he had?
How many?
18.
Oh,
Who would have won?
that's a shame.
21 minutes too late.
I did lose in our staff league, but our listener league, all that smack I was talking in the off season, being like, buy the draft guy if you can beat us. Well, I'm in the championship.
He's in the chip.
So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I did not fare as
You, on the other hand, weren't paying attention and just choked yourself to the worst record
next
in
year.
the league.
I paid attention for the early weeks of the season.
And then you realized
my team got
your
hurt.
team wasn't good. Your team actually wasn't that bad.
My team was good. It
Injured.
just got hurt.
Yeah.
So whatever. Fantasy football happens.
Yep. It happens.
This season's been very strange, but welcome in to the Q&A episode, final one of 2021. We've done like 3 of these this year. Maybe we should do more next year.
Yeah, you could probably do some in the offseason.
We did
too.
one with the in the offseason. We did one with what is it? I can't remember, the fantasy football chat.
Yes,
people,
the Discord chat.
The Discord chat, and then we did 2 the last couple weeks. So we're probably going to do more of these in 2021. But we got a championship Q&A. It should be interesting. My name is Morgan Colby, Rick Lemon.
What's up?
So let's jump right into a lot of these questions because we don't want to give you any more time of me and Rick flirting with each other.
Love that comment.
So before we do that, check out our website at thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter at the FFChance, on Instagram at thefantasychampions. Like us at facebook.com/thefantasychampions. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other podcast platform, smash the sub button.
Yeah.
Kill it. Subscribe. Do all those good things. And then leave a review. If you're watching on YouTube, same thing. Subscribe. Subscribe is not enough. Click the bell for notifications to get notifications whenever we post a new podcast. Like and comment down below. So let's jump right in. Before I do, I'm tired of Christmas.
Dude, it's Christmas Eve.
I love Christmas. It's one of my favorite holidays. But when you get married, you have to get everyone gifts. Everybody. And I'm done. Done getting people gifts. I've shopped like 4 straight days.
Yeah,
I'm ready to die. Especially during COVID, you got to wear a mask in all the stores. And now in our state, they're making like it's 25% capacity, so we have to wait outside to get into a store.
Oh yeah, in the freezing.
And I'm waiting outside in 20-degree weather, trying to buy presents for people. And I'm like, do I really love these people this much?
Yeah, I like Christmas too. I love Christmas. I think wrapping isn't the best. Not a crazy fan of wrapping presents.
No.
And shopping, I hate shopping, but once I'm there, it's not bad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I like shopping for myself.
Well, yeah.
I was walking around Target and I'm like, should I buy myself a new iPad? And I called my wife and she said no.
And that was the end of it.
That's probably safe for you to say.
All right. Do you want to get into these questions?
Yeah, let's do it. So we got a bevy of questions. 100 what? 150?
Yeah, we got like 150 comments.
A lot of comments, a lot of questions. So we're gonna jump right in. We picked 10. We're gonna get to 10, and hopefully yours was selected, and we can help you. I would say if you're asking about AJ Brown, we do have a question for him in here. It's a good question. It's a very good question. Yeah, we'll answer that one. But if we didn't put your AJ Brown or Jalen Hurts questions in, I would say start Jalen Hurts or start AJ Brown.
Yeah, we got a gazillion
for
of those.
Most of them, unless it's ridiculously blatant.
Jalen Brown was Jalen Brown. I have basketball in my mind.
We just did our fantasy basketball draft because it doesn't stop.
I did exactly. I got so many questions about Jalen Hurts this week. Love Jalen Hurts. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, I almost fell out of my chair.
We actually can talk about Jalen Hurts right now. You want to do that?
Yeah, let's do it. Jalen Hurts or Tom Brady is the first question, and I wanted to go straight to Rick's soul, so I'll let you open the floor.
This really hurts me so much because I love both these guys. They won me money last week. I was telling you before that. Love both these guys, but I'm gonna say Jalen Hurts. I'm on the train, and it hurts me to say that because I love Tom Brady, and it's a juicy matchup against the Detroit Lions, and I think he's a good start. But Jalen Hurts, what he's doing right now, the last 2 weeks, it's hard to ignore. You know, you see a guy who just pops onto the scene like this. It's like a Justin Herbert was in the beginning of the year, and some people were very slow to jump on that train, and it costed them. I'm not trying to do that with Jalen Hurts. I think we talked about it before on one of our previous shows that he looks like he's a league winner right now.
Yeah.
And he's got a great matchup against Dallas. What he did to Arizona this past week was insane.
Yeah.
His rushing floor is crazy. He rushed for 108 yards in his first start, 63 and a touchdown in his second start. Like against Dallas, it's safe to assume he's going to rush for at least 50, 60 yards. And then add that to what he can do passing. It's hard to stop. I think he's going to get 20, 25, maybe 30 fantasy points. And even though I think Brady's good for another 20-plus point week, I would rather start Jalen Hurts because I think he's got the upside.
Yeah. I'm going to say Jalen Hurts, and it's not even close for me.
Well, how is that a surprise?
So Brady actually, I want to say he surprised me, but he didn't. Because I had him ranked like 12 to 14, I think.
You had him ranked like 14, let's be honest.
I mean, I could pull it up, but I'm not going to. I might.
I don't know. You had him in that area.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
12 to 14 is where I had him. Right now, he's 10. And if he has like one more bad week, I think he can slip down to like 12. So he's still in 12-team leagues, a QB1. But he's not really. He's at the bottom end of. Usually, if you make it past like QB 7 or 8, it's not a week-to-week start kind of guy.
Yeah. That's
and
fair.
Brady, we were arguing on Sunday pretty angrily about me and Rick's teams.
In
our home
I tried
league,
not to include Brady in that.
And he mentioned Ryan Tannehill, and I'm like. He was like Ryan Tannehill, Justin Herbert, and I'm like, it's probably just even because Herbert had Tannehill had like 140-point week that kind of threw him over the top, but he's been good. But then I was like, I didn't even think to ask you, so I'm going to do it live on the show.
This isn't good.
Then why did you proceed? If you had Tannehill, why did you proceed to start Brady the entire season?
Because, in
had the QB4
in the home league,
you wanted
I play this game.
Oh.
Yes, I play this game where if it's close enough, I will pick the guy that I want to watch because it's a home league. It's just for fun. No money on the line. Yes, we are trying our hardest. Obviously, I'm trying to win. But if it's close enough, I'm like, I'm going to start Tom Brady. I'm just going to do it. Okay.
That's fair. But my point is...
I did bench Brady a few times, though.
Tannehill and Brady are kind of like... Tannehill, even though he's like, I think the QB4 at this point, he is like... He almost feels like a streamer. Because
I know he feels like that, but if you look at his stats, like he really has been.
But anyway,
pretty good all year.
Back to Brady or Hurts.
Yeah.
So Brady has had 21 over the course of the season from week 1 to 15. He had 21, 8, 22, 33. So 2 good games there. 13, 14, 2 bad games. 36, 19, 5. Yeah. So far at this point, he through 9 weeks, he had maybe 4 weeks where he was startable. And then he had 31, 14, 23, 15, 23. So I think he'll probably get somewhere between 15 and 20 this week if you're going based on trends. That is not, there's no science in that. There's just trends. So I think if you have Brady and you can't get Hurts, I don't think that Brady's a bad play. But to answer this man's questions, I think that it would have to be Jalen Hurts. And I think that Brady's biggest problem, like this past week against Atlanta, 390 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 23 fantasy points.
Yeah.
That's a good week. It's a great week for Brady. Great. Yeah. That's a fantastic week for a quarterback. Yeah. He only scored 23 fantasy points. Yeah. Jalen Hurts could throw 200 passing yards and 2 touchdowns and then still pass Brady and get 35 fantasy points because of his rushing.
Right.
Simple. And so I think for me, Brady's probably a safer floor play. If you have an easy matchup this week, like you're
probably
facing,
don't though.
You're facing the 6th seed. facing the 6th seed in the championship. They don't have a good quarterback, and you got that easy matchup, and you think you're going to walk your way to a chip, and you have Brady. I don't think it's worth taking the risk on starting Jalen Hurts. But if you are in a matchup that's really close, or you're in a matchup where you need a big performance from your quarterback, I have to go Jalen Hurts. I probably just overall would say go Jalen Hurts because
I was
going to
say, I think overall I'm going Hurts anyway.
Yeah.
But, Brady's still not a bad play. He's got Detroit this week.
Yeah. No, it's not a bad play at all. But to answer your question, we both say Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Number 2 is another quarterback question. I believe it's the only quarterback question we have left.
Yeah.
Quarterback questions are so difficult because they really, if you're in a 4-point league like everyone is, they're kind of a non-consequential decision. Like they can have massive ramifications.
You could start Derek Carr and then
I'm in a 6-point touchdown league, and our home league is a 5-point touchdown league, which is not something you ever see. The quarterbacks matter in those leagues, and 4-point touchdown leagues.
They still matter because they still get like 20 points.
They matter, but they're such an easy, unless you're in a super flex league, there's such an easy position to predict that making these close decisions is going to be like Tom Brady or Jalen Hurts right now. They're both going to get 20 points probably. Yeah. So it's not like you're going to lose points based on that. Unless the other team has Patrick Mahomes and he gets 50. Like if he has Patrick Mahomes, he gets 50. It doesn't matter which guy you're choosing. You're still going to lose.
But this next one's a very good quarterback.
This one is a very good quarterback question because I legitimately have no idea how to answer it. But it's Lamar Jackson or Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Justin Herbert here.
That was quick.
Yeah, well, it's partly based on mostly based on matchup. I think Lamar though right now, I was gonna say Jalen Hurts again. Lamar is very hot right now, so he's not a bad start at all. Like he's been fantastic. We told you to start him this past week.
Sleeper just told me that he has 20 seconds left in this game.
What?
Yeah,
dude, I don't know what that means. Oh yeah, it says 20 seconds left. That's funny. But yeah, we've told you like his end of season schedule is great. We liked his upcoming matchups, and he's played really, really well.
Yeah.
This week against the Giants, it's a little different. The Giants have been surprisingly very good against quarterbacks all season. I still think Lamar has been, he's going to ride the wave. He's been very good. So I do think he's actually going to be pretty good against the Giants, better than people think. But with Justin Herbert going up against Denver, it's a much easier matchup. Herbert got 26 last week against the Raiders. I think we're safe to assume that he's going to get another 20, 25, maybe even 30 game against Denver. While Lamar, you can expect that 25, 30 game, but there's also, I think, just as good of a chance that he lays an egg this week and gets like 12, 15 points.
I think if you had to choose...
It's a close one, though.
It's a close one, but like I said, I think ever since like 3 years ago, I always have to go, especially against an easy matchup. Not really, according to Sleeper. Would you say the Giants are an easy matchup?
No.
Okay.
I don't know why. Against quarterbacks, they've given up. I can tell you the number they've given up this year. They have, I think they're 4th in the league, 4th worst.
Wow. Wonder why that's the case.
They've given up 16.8 fantasy points a game to quarterbacks.
Okay, well, I guess I have to go Herbert.
Yeah, it's close, though, because Lamar has been great lately. It's hard to bench Lamar Jackson the way he's playing right now.
Yeah, I think the other thing, too, is that you saw earlier in the season through the first, 6 to 10 weeks, Herbert was rushing a little bit, and there was, a floor of, 2 fantasy points a game. And since, week 11, he has only rushed it 6 total times from week 11 all the way to week 15. So
yeah,
that's very, very, to me, that's very concerning.
It is, yeah.
But Herbert, the only game I don't feel good about either one of these. Against Denver, I think Herbert's a good play. That's why I would take Herbert. He's got the easier matchup. He's done good. I think they played Denver twice this year, and he had 23 last time he played Denver. Yep. So
I think he's gonna be around that range.
Yeah, he probably will be around that range. I just think for Lamar, it's gonna depend on how effective he is on the ground.
Yeah,
and if he rushes it 10 times and gets 10 yards per carry, and he's at 100 rushing yards and scores a touchdown, I mean it's easy money. He doesn't even have to do well throwing the ball in order to have success this week. But if he has what he did against Jacksonville, where he rushed 10 times for 35 yards,
right,
he'll probably not win you your week. I mean, he had 9 fantasy points on that, which got him up to 30 fantasy points. But had he not scored that touchdown, he probably would have been right around 24, 23.
They're still good.
Which is still good, but I think against tough matchups, you've seen him not perform well. Like
right, Pittsburgh,
Colts, Indianapolis,
yeah.
New England, he had 16, 18, 22. So
not bad still.
It's not bad against New England, but it's going to be a tough situation for him against the Giants. So I think I would start Herbert.
Yeah, that one is a close one though.
It's very close. Wayne Gallman or Tony Pollard?
Gosh, off the top of my head, without looking at anything, I'm going to say Tony Pollard. What he did last week was really impressive without Ezekiel Elliott. And Ezekiel Elliott, I believe, is out again this week, right?
We don't know that. I don't believe he's out. I was going to say that for this question.
Okay. Yeah,
I think he plans to play is what they said.
So if Zeke is playing, that changes things. I think I'm not really trying to start Tony Pollard just because I have no idea what they're going to do. I have no idea how the Cowboys plan on using that backfield if Zeke plays. If Zeke does not play, though, it's Tony Pollard for me, and it's not really close.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Because, again, what he did last week without Zeke was just really, really good. Let me see if I can pull up his numbers. And I know Wayne Gallman has a very tough matchup this week against Baltimore. And I don't love it. Wayne Gallman has not been good the last few weeks. He's been getting 2 points, 8 points. They're kind of, going away from him a little bit. So I'm really not trying to start Wayne Gallman this week at all.
Right.
I will say, though, it's so tough, man. It's so tough. I think with Zeke out, it's obvious, right? It's Tony Pollard. With Zeke in, I've kind of convinced myself in my brain right now that I'm starting Tony Pollard anyway because he had such because he had such a good week, right?
Yeah.
You think even with Zeke, even if Zeke plays,
right, they're
still going to use Tony Pollard.
Well, I think the big thing that you have to preface here is that it wasn't like he was good in the game. Yeah. Like he was good pass catching wise, but rushing the football, he had 11 rushes for, I believe it was 39 yards.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
So it was like 3.8, 3.9 yards a carry. So it wasn't the best. He did score 2 touchdowns. He had a good day fantasy wise, but on the ground, I think you could make an argument that it wasn't the best. I still think he's not a bad option. Over the last couple weeks, we saw him against Baltimore. He had 8 carries, and then against Cincinnati, he had 11.
I was gonna say that he split carries last week.
You're kind of in a situation where the max he gets is about 40% of the snaps.
Yeah. Do you think that number goes up at all though?
No.
Maybe to 45?
I don't.
Okay.
So I think that there is a chance that if you throw him in the game, that he gets 11, 12, 13 points. But if Zeke is playing, they're going to give Zeke the ball. And I think it will look more like a 60-40 split. I don't know if I'm going to I don't know if I can trust that for Tony Pollard.
It's hard to trust that.
Wayne Gallman against Baltimore is in kind of it's a different situation where he's going to get opportunity. It's just the last couple weeks he hasn't.
The way what I noticed with the Giants is when they're winning games or in games, he'll get opportunity. But against Cleveland, when they were blown out, they just completely threw him to the side. And because they don't use him
against Baltimore, they're going to get blown out. Is what you're saying,
right? And they don't use him in the passing game at all.
Right? Yeah, this is a tough one.
I don't know if they're going to get. See, that's the thing. Like I think they'll lose to Baltimore, but I think they might be able to make it close enough where they still use Wayne Gallman. This is a very good one. It's a very good question. I'm starting Tony Pollard.
I'm going to start Tony Pollard as well. I'll go in that direction. It hurts my soul, but I will. Let's talk about the next one, DJ Moore or T.Y. Hilton. This one, it doesn't sound tough when I first say it.
The way T.Y. Hilton has been playing, though, it's like...
Yeah. So T.Y. didn't have the best week this past week. Also, I just want to note, we're going to assume that DJ Moore is not on, that he's been activated from COVID IR.
I think he already had. He played this past week.
I don't know why it says COVID next to his name. Not really
I don't know.
sure why.
Maybe
but
because
anyway,
he had COVID like 2 weeks ago.
Keep it whatever. So this past week he had 16 fantasy points, 8 targets, 6 catches, 131 yards. Didn't score a touchdown, so that's pretty good, especially against Green Bay, who shuts down people regularly.
Yeah.
And so I think he can do that against Washington. Nothing really scares me more about Washington than the fact that they have Chase Young crushing people.
Yeah, is Teddy Bridgewater going to have to be able to throw the ball down the field at all?
Yeah, probably not. But So it's a tough matchup for DJ Moore, and you have T.Y. Hilton going up against Pittsburgh, who's kind of middle of the road in terms of fantasy points to wide receivers, and that's kind of changed since the midway point. This past week, he had six targets, 4 catches for 71 yards, 9 fantasy points. So after going 16, 21, and 23, he went out again against Houston and only had 9. What makes me nervous about T.Y. Hilton is that I think there's a chance that he could just revert right back to that 5-6 target again. Like these good games, he had 5 targets against Tennessee, 4 catches. This is a 16-point game. He caught a touchdown and he did really well, got 81 yards. Still had the same target share as he had in the previous weeks. The only difference about the stretch of games is the fact that he was catching touchdowns and the fact that his target share increased like slightly. This past week he went back to 6 targets. So if he goes to 5 targets, I think he reverts back to bad T.Y. Hilton, and you might get burned in the fantasy championship, especially against Pittsburgh. We came into the year saying DJ Moore is a stud. I think you have to roll with him. I'm going to go with DJ Moore.
I agree. I like DJ Moore over T.Y. for this week. T.Y., I will say they have gotten him involved in the offense a little bit more because, that 11 target game I think was legit. Like they did try to get him.
He did have a game where he had 10 targets earlier in the season.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, but it felt like they were trying to get him involved. Like, we haven't been doing this all year. Let's try to get T.Y. going.
I think the difference is obviously the touchdowns, but I think they might have gotten him more involved in the red zone.
Yeah,
more recently
for sure. And I think even this past week against Houston, he was okay, 9 fantasy points. But like you said, the targets went down a little bit, down to 6 targets. Yeah. If it stays at about 6 targets against Pittsburgh, I don't like that because I think, to me, if I'm a betting man, I use that term all the time, but now I am. If I'm a betting man, I probably would bet the under in the Steelers-Colts game. Those are 2 really good defenses and 2 really old quarterbacks. Yeah. So I don't love that for T.Y. Hilton. And while DJ Moore, on the other hand, it's not a great matchup. But he didn't have a great matchup last week and got 16. It doesn't with Moore. It's kind of weird. He doesn't really rely on the matchup. It's kind of just random weeks where he pops off versus he just blows. It's just a matter of if Teddy Bridgewater wants to throw him the football or not. But against Washington, like that, to me, that could be a game where Carolina, I don't think they're gonna get shut out by any means. Like they've had a good offense all year, and it'll be a close game, right? So I think there'll be a decent amount of throwing in that game. So. And DJ Moore has been good. Player studs. I'm starting DJ Moore.
Okay, sounds good. Next question: Daryl Henderson or J.D. Mckissick? But this one's gross to me. This is probably the grossest one I've had all season. Grossest question I've gotten all season. Yeah. So Mckissick the last couple weeks has been fantastic for the most part. In Antonio Gibson's absence. I don't know if Gibson's going to play. I believe I saw a report that says he's not. So
I hope he plays.
Yeah, I do hope he plays
I have
too.
him
If Daryl Henderson, if Antonio Gibson plays, McKissick cannot be started. Do not start him in any format.
Agreed.
Yep. If Antonio Gibson comes back, if Gibson's out, I think he's considered a good option. Now, I guess you could say Henderson and McKissick. If you made it to the fantasy championship with either one of these guys in your starting lineup, congratulations. I don't know how you did it.
Might be a deep league, multiple flex spots.
Daryl Henderson's tricky because Cam Akers is out this week.
Yes,
he's playing the Seattle Seahawks.
It's a good matchup.
And it's a good matchup, but when you look at, the last couple weeks, it's hard. Tampa Bay, San Francisco, Arizona, New England, the Jets, who I don't know how they've gotten good against the run. But there's been some hard matchups for him the last couple weeks. The last time he played Seattle, he had 9 points, which is not reassuring.
On a 32% snap percentage, though.
On a 32% snap percentage. But even the games where he had above 50% snap percentage, he had 9, 8.
Yeah.
It's just gross. So for me, it's not that Daryl Henderson is a bad option for you against Seattle.
For this week, yeah.
I just, even when he was kind of one of the featured guys in the offense, he was still only getting between 40 to 50%. And it's like they like to spread the ball
Malcolm
around.
Brown's going to get his carries.
Right. And so I think he's going to get opportunities. He'll probably get 10 carries, and he'll get his opportunities through the air and on the ground and stuff like that. But I just don't know if it's going to turn into... Seattle's offense is also... the the Rams offense against the Jets just looked porous and horrible. And Rick has mentioned that this is a playoff game for both teams, essentially. This is to make the playoffs and win the division, most likely.
If the Rams lose this game, I believe they're in danger of missing the playoffs.
They're in danger of missing the playoffs, correct. So this is a game they have to play well in, but I don't know if that really lends a hand to Daryl Henderson, and then Mckissick on the other side, he's playing Carolina, and he's had in the last couple weeks 12, 9, and 21 since Antonio Gibson started missing time. I believe that was the start of when that happened.
Yep.
And so in the last couple weeks, he's gotten 10, 13, and then he had 9 catches this past week and got 21 fantasy points. He has an easy matchup. I'm going to have to go with J.D. McKissick here, and I hate it, but I'm going to have to go with J.D. McKissick.
I love J.D. McKissick this week if Gibson is out. You want to know how many targets J.D. McKissick has on the season?
How many?
92. He has 92 targets.
That's gross, dude. That's gross.
Like, that is so disgusting, but fantasy-wise, it's awesome.
Yeah.
He had 15 targets in a game. He had 10 this past week. The week before that, against San Fran, he only had 4 targets, but that was a game when they were winning. It was a very defense-oriented game. Against Carolina, it's probably going to be a close game, back and forth. I can see, I could see Washington maybe even getting upset this week, to be honest, but losing or being a close game, so there will be throwing involved, and I could see him getting 10 targets again if he does that. That's pretty much a guaranteed floor of like 10 points.
Right.
He gets like 8-9 catches. So, and then whatever he does on the ground is just bonus. So, J.D. McKissick for me is the guy to go with here. But if Gibson plays, then go Daryl Henderson.
For sure. Josh Jacobs or Terry McLaurin. I think this one's pretty easy. I'm gonna have to go with Josh Jacobs. I love McLaurin, but I can't. I think this is a flex question.
It is a flex question.
I'm gonna have to go with Josh Jacobs. I don't really think it needs that much explanation. Rick said a second ago when we were talking about DJ Moore, T.Y. Hilton, start your studs. Yep. I know Terry McLaurin's good, but Josh Jacobs is a top 10 running back in fantasy football. And if you pass up on that to start a wide receiver 15, you're not really playing right, I guess.
No, I mean,
if McLaurin goes out and has a big week and you come back to me and be like, "Oh my God, why did you tell me to start Jacobs? He had 8 points." I'm like, you cannot play games not in the championship. We saw a team last week in our home league that was far better than the team he was playing, and he ended up losing because he played games. He started benching guys he shouldn't have benched because of matchups, because of all of that. And when you start playing games like that, you start losing.
Yep.
So the question of Josh Jacobs or Terry McLaurin should not be there. I guarantee you have a wide receiver on your team that probably could be Terry McLaurin could be started over if you really want to start him that bad. But I have to go Josh Jacobs in the flex.
Dude, why are you hating on the question, bro?
I just sometimes...
I think it's a legit question. Josh Jacobs has kind of been, he still has been very good.
Yeah.
But he's kind of been like, he's been underwhelming a little bit for people who took him, especially people who took him in the first round.
That's because everyone hypes Josh Jacobs up to be this ridiculous player, and he's really not. So the expectations now come back.
Like, he had 2.9 yards of carry this past week.
Yeah, that's gross. But they still gave it to him 20 times.
He did, yes. But if he doesn't get in the end zone, he's getting like 8 points a week, right? And against the Dolphins, that's a good defense. So it's not a great matchup, and McLaurin has a good matchup against Carolina, a fantastic matchup. So I understand the question, but I'm with Morgan. Start your studs. I'm starting Josh Jacobs.
Leonard Fournette or Le'Veon Bell. This is probably the coup d'etat, the question of all questions. Because we got to get to the next couple really quickly, but this is probably the main event of questions because man, this one is all of the starting running backs being injured.
Yep. And
having to start either one of these guys. Now, for me, I know
I know who I'm going to say.
We're probably going to say the same guy because we always do. But I'm not going to say... I'm going to say we told you to pick him up.
Yes.
And I'm probably going to start him in at least one league if I need to.
I think I have to in one league.
Yeah. But I'm not going to play Le'Veon Bell this week, and I would probably start Fournette over Le'Veon Bell.
Yep.
I say that first so that you can leave now that the semantics are over. So I'm going to go into the reasons why. Obviously, he's in the Kansas City Chiefs offense, so you want to think that he's got this opportunity to have a really big... Yeah, he had a really good week this week, 15 carries, 62 yards, And you look at him and you go, wow, this guy, and he had a touchdown too. But you look at him and you go, it's Le'Veon Bell. He's been good, in the past. He's the starting running back now for Kansas City over the next 2 weeks. So he's going to be the guy that's featured in that offense. I should start him. And last week I started Tony Pollard blindly against the Cowboys. So why can't I start Le'Veon Bell? Well, you have Leonard Fournette. That's why.
Yeah.
So for me, I think for Fournette, for Le'Veon Bell, his biggest problem is the pass catching. It's just not there. And against Atlanta, they're going to be tossing it downfield. They don't usually give up a lot of fantasy points to running backs. I think it's going to be a tough day for Bell on the ground. If he doesn't get involved through the air and they don't use him in the red zone, he's essentially going to be useless for the Kansas City Chiefs, and you're probably going to get like a 6 to 10 point game out of him. He might have a really good week. I will say that. It might be a week where he has a really good week, which is why I'm not fully scared of starting him. Like, I'm not running out to pick up J.D. McKissick and start him over Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah,
that's a good question too, but
I'd probably
you could discuss that. But anyway, if Leonard Fournette for me is going up against Detroit, it's an easy matchup.
Yes.
He is the starting running back. Rojo is not playing this week. He was worse efficiency-wise.
Horrible.
against Atlanta last week. He had 49 yards on the ground
on 14
carries, 3.5 yards a carry, and he even had 16 yards on 3 catches through the air, 5 yards per. It's terrible. It really is bad. But that was against Atlanta, who now Le'Veon Bell is going to play, and I know that they're going to get in the red zone. I know they're the Kansas City Chiefs, but I you know what, Kansas City, I want to know how much they get into the red zone, because they just score a lot on big plays.
They really do.
So many big plays. But anyway, I don't think that Le'Veon Bell is going to score 20 points like Leonard Fournette did this week. So, and I think Fournette against the easier matchup with most of the workload, I think it's going to end up being a really good week for him. So I would start Fournette. I'm starting him in multiple leagues that I have him in.
Yep.
Over Le'Veon Bell.
It's funny. Fournette has been getting a lot of slack all season, as he probably should. Yeah. But if Ronald Jones wasn't there, Fournette would probably be like a low-end RB1 or like a high-end RB2 this year. Mm-hmm. And even if Bell was on the Chiefs the whole year and Clyde wasn't there, he'd probably be like an RB2.
Yeah.
And both guys have been getting a lot of heat all year. I mean, they haven't been great, but I'm 100% with you. I would start Fournette. He got 20 points last week against a bad matchup. He has an easier matchup this week against Detroit. Hopefully he's more efficient. I don't think he's going to get 2 touchdowns again.
Yeah.
But he can be more efficient with the work he's getting. And what I love about Fournette is when he is the main guy out there, he gets targets as well. He had 5 targets this week, as well as the majority of the carries. So, and I think Bell's going to get the majority of the work, but I think you could see Daryl Williams out there getting some work too. Right. And I'm not sure if he's going to get as many touches as Fournette does. And it's a harder matchup. I'm just going with Fournette.
I agree. Next question, Brandon Ayuk or A.J. Brown? I want to kind of talk about this one quickly. This is a very interesting question because A.J. Brown is playing Green Bay. There was a game there. He's the tough matchups this year. He's been tough matchup. Good and bad. So, but against Green Bay, I don't know. I don't know if he can. Have a really good game against them. And his target share has been kind of dropping.
Yep.
In the last couple of weeks. I don't want to say it's consistently that, because he's had games where he had 4 targets and then come back and had 10, and it is what it is. But Ayuk, Rick was telling me before the show, ever since Debo's kind of been out and midway point of the season usually is when rookie wide receivers start turning it on. He's had 10 targets, 14 targets, 9 targets, 16 targets, 13 targets. He's playing Arizona this week, which is a much easier matchup, and he's been the wide receiver 3 since week 7. Week 7.
In points per game. Because he did miss some games due to COVID.
Yes.
And he had a bye week in there. But if you just go by points per game, since week 7, it is, I had the list. I think it was Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, and Brandon Ayuk. Those are the top 3
So
guys.
I'm going to surprise you, and I'm going to say Brandon Ayuk here.
Okay. All right. That's crazy because I'm the Brandon Ayuk guy, and you're not. And here I am.
I was sitting here,
you're the A.J. Brown guy.
I was staring at the question going, this is a dumb question. Just start A.J. Brown. And as I thought about it, I was like, you know what? That's not.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think you can go wrong either way, I'm start your studs guy. I just can't say A.J. Brown. I can't do it. I'm starting A.J. Brown. I don't want to go down with A.J. Brown on my bench. I'd rather go down with him in my starting lineup. I love Brandon Ayuk, though.
I don't feel like this is A.J. Brown has a really bad matchup, so I'm going to pick up a wide receiver off the waiver wire and start him decisions.
It's Brandon Ayuk has been legit.
Ayuk has been legit.
I think if there's a way you can start both guys, you do it. But I still just can't say.
I want to know what this guy has on his team.
I know, right?
To make this decision.
I'm still starting my studs. I'm still starting A.J. Brown. But Ayuk, if you play him, is going to have a good week. I think A.J. Brown has a higher ceiling, though. Yeah. Because as good as Ayuk's been, I don't think he's hit 20 points yet in half PPR. He's hit 19.
Yeah, so A.J. Brown
17.
is one of those guys, even against Green Bay, where I've talked about it all season.
He can go off for an 80-yard touchdown.
He can go off for an 80-yard touchdown and win you a week. And so I think that you still have that there with A.J. Brown. You'll always have that. I don't think you have that with Ayuk.
Yeah, I mean, because Ayuk, even in a game where he had 16 targets, he had 16 fantasy points because he had Nick Mullins throwing him. You know who his quarterback is this week? C.J. Beathard with Josh Rosen.
You mean Josh Rosen?
Well, we'll see.
I hope they start Josh Rosen. I'm not going to lie. Next question, Mark Andrews or Robert Tonyan? That's a tight end question, so I'm not going to spend hours on it, but go ahead.
I was hoping you'd go first. My initial thought is Mark Andrews. I know Tonyan's been fantastic all year. I picked him up. I love Robert Tonyan. My only concern with him is his target share is not really that high. He gets like 5 targets a week, although Mark Andrews does too. But I think Mark Andrews just gets more. He's more efficient with the targets, I feel like, and he gets more yards. Is the big thing. So he has a higher floor play if he does not catch a touchdown. I think it's going to be mostly based on matchup here. So
I'm going with Tonyan.
Okay, all right.
Tight end number 3 on the season. PPR.
That's crazy, bro. How come every year I pick up like the most random tight end and they end up being top 5? Like I had Hooper last year, and so this year it's Tonyan. Yeah, I'm gonna go Andrews just to play devil's advocate here. But I think I have him like the 3 and 4 tight end this week, so you're fine either way.
I'm gonna say Tonyan. Just based on I think they have the same target share. Rick was saying that they're more efficient. I think.
It's really about the same.
Andrews is more efficient through the what is it?
Andrews gets more yards
through yardage, but Tonyan has caught.
He's a touchdown machine.
He's going up against Tennessee, easy matchup. Andrews is going up against the Giants, which is not an easy matchup for him. Yeah. I think this is a game where the Ravens could just blow the doors off.
Man,
I think they could just blow the doors off the Giants. And,
yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's close. Who knows? But I'm gonna take Robert Tonyan.
Your screen, we're looking at the exact same thing. Yours has dark red for week 16 for Mark Andrews. Mine is an orange. I don't know why that is.
Maybe I didn't reload it.
Whatever.
Anyway, I'm gonna start Tonyan. So that's hopefully that helps. Take the information I gave you and start your own way. And then final question we have really quickly is James Robinson, DeAndre Swift. Swift has been good for the last 4 weeks since they decided to give him the full workload. James Robinson has been good. I don't think he's gone under 10 points this season.
I think he did, but it hasn't been since like week 5. Like he's been on a roll.
I really don't know. They're giving James Robinson rest this week, which is concerning to me. James Robinson, he's God, that's so tough.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Swift. I know.
Wow.
I know it's kind of. Yeah, see, it's so I don't know, man. I think I would start Swift, but James Robinson has carried you to the championship, right? He's been that guy. Both guys have tough matchups.
I'm gonna go James Robinson.
Yeah. See, I don't know. Now I'm kind of leaning. This is another really good one. And I haven't really done my weekly research on running backs yet, so I don't know where I'd rank these guys. But Robinson, he just hasn't been great, man. He hasn't in the last few weeks. He's still getting you 10 points. He had 10 points against Tennessee, 12 against Baltimore. But his yards per carry against Baltimore was 2.2. Yeah. And against Chicago, that is a legit defense. I don't think Jacksonville's going to really do anything on offense. I hope James Robinson gets a touchdown because if he doesn't, I think he's scoring in the single digits. And that could really cost you a game if you don't start DeAndre Swift, who people say like, oh, this should be easy. James Robinson's RB4. But really, since Swift has become the starter, he's been fantastic. And in his last few weeks, he has 10, 23, 13, and 19. But his matchup is hard too against Tampa. So it's like, it's pretty much at this point, who do you trust more, right? Do you think DeAndre Swift against Tampa is more of a matchup?
I'm going to go with the lore of the guys that carried you there. You got to start James Robinson.
I'm going to change it and say James Robinson too, just for that reason. You know, he got you this far. I wouldn't bench him.
Yeah, I agree. So there's all the questions we have for this show. We went 10. We went 10 minutes over.
Whatever.
It doesn't matter. That's it. Q&A's done for 2020.
Dang.
Next week, I don't even know. I don't even know what we're going to talk about on Wednesday. Oh, no, we're moving injury report to Thursday's show. So be sure to check that out. We're going to have 3 episodes next week. We have injury report tomorrow. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Later.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.